Hi everyone, my name is Lela and welcome to When the Heart Speaks. And I have some lovely ladies with me today. So we have Toni, Janine, and Allie. Ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So I want to ask you ladies, what is self-love and how would you define it? Janine?
For me, self-love is actually very important because to me it comes after learning to love God and God loving you back and realizing that. So for me, self-love is filling your cup so you're able to help others.
Yeah.
So taking care of yourself,
Right.
and just being kind and good to yourself daily. Yes.
Yeah. Being kind.
That's good.
Yeah, Allie?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and also think that it's like knowing yourself. So self-love is building that relationship with yourself so that you can, like you said, go into the world and like your cup is empty, so you actually have something to give people as opposed to like always coming from a place of being depleted or like deflation, that you actually are taken care of so that you can go into the world as a healthy person into your workplaces and your relationships.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Agreed.
That's really good. Toni?
Yeah, I think those were both great answers. And just to build on that, I think, once you know yourself, you can be intentional and mindful about the decisions that you make so that, you're doing things that will help you fill that cup and that will help you when you're going out in the world.
Yes. And is self-love, is it difficult? Do you guys find it difficult to love yourself? And how do you show yourself that you love yourself?
I think it's a learned thing, and I think it's not something we talk about, like self-love that's usually more as an external thing, like pampering or whatever. But to really like develop that relationship with yourself, that's something I'm really passionate about, is like the whole knowing yourself thing. Knowing what makes you tick in a world where like there's a lot of pressure to like say yes to everything, like what Toni's saying. Knowing that you can say no to things because that's going to be a healthier decision for you. Like it's important to know your boundaries, or like what is going to bring you health, so that I'm going to keep saying, like, you can go into the world and it's totally the cup thing. It's like if you are always coming from a place of emptiness, then you will just be tired and typically not a very nice person. So it's good to love yourself.
Right. And I think society too, and even like social media, it tells you in order to love yourself or to be loving or desirable is you have to look a certain way or have certain things. And if you don't have those things, it's kind of hard to be like, well, like, should I love myself because I don't have a husband, I don't have a big house, like there's something wrong with me. So it's definitely like up to us to do what we can to show ourselves love.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So how do you show yourself love?
So to me, I think self-love is definitely a practice. It takes time, like anything, like sticking to exercising or eating well. Self-love to me is being self-aware. So knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, and knowing that you have a voice and your gut is usually right. And following your heart, like really trusting your heart.
Yeah.
But I think that takes time. It takes a lot of confidence, a lot of character building, and lots of love.
Yeah.
Because
it's also like putting yourself first. It's also saying like what I need and how I feel matters.
Yes.
And so I need to make sure that I'm feeling and that I have what I need.
Yes.
And although it can be selfish to other people, it's so necessary.
Yes.
And it's so necessary for your self-development. It's necessary for you to love yourself in order to grow and expand and to try new things.
Right.
I wish I would have loved myself sooner.
Same. I agree. 100%. Yeah.
How did you learn to love yourself then?
Honestly, I think I had to, first of all, I had to learn to be alone. I feel like I had this thing where I had to be around people. I couldn't eat by myself. I couldn't like go to the mall by myself. I don't think I enjoyed my own company. And I think I had to start there. It's like, why don't I enjoy myself? You know, and I once heard this quote. It said that the way you feel about yourself is the way you feel when you're in your room alone, lights off, by yourself. That feeling that you feel is how you truly feel about yourself. And so that got me thinking, because for a while,
that's powerful,
right? Because no one's around, no one's there. It's just you by yourself. And if you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable or sad, like there's something there that needs to be addressed. So yeah, I had to kind of start with like what you're saying, with the just looking in the mirror and being like, you're okay. You're beautiful. And believe it. And teaching myself to believe it. Okay, so another question I have for you ladies is, what area of your life do you need to learn to love more?
Wow.
It's a good question. I think for myself, sometimes I can be a little too critical about myself. So I think once in a while, I've started to do it, but I need to do it more. I need to appreciate myself more, not just wait for other people to appreciate me, but I need to appreciate myself more and maybe be a little bit kinder to myself.
That's key.
I would say I need to love my body more. I feel like I don't know if it's just being an athlete, you know, running track for so many years, there was this expectation that your body had to look a certain way. So I even would get my body fat measured, and like, you know, I'd step on the scale, and because I ran such a long distance, like my weight was very important. Like the lighter I was, the better. So I always kind of had these like kind of body insecure issues that developed, and even before I even became an athlete. And so for me, I'm striving to learn to love my body more.
I also feel like once you start, well, for me anyway, once I started being more comfortable in my own skin, it transcended into everything else in my life. Like I feel more whole, I feel less anxious. It's very important. So for me, the one thing I wish I would love more is loving where I am.
Wow. Ooh, yes. I like
because
that.
For me, I'm always looking ahead.
Yes.
What's next? What's next? So I feel like I forget what's right in front of me. And sometimes what's right in front of you is actually amazing, and it's a blessing. And I really feel that God doesn't hold back on blessings, but He doesn't give unless you're thankful for where you are.
Agree.
So that would be a big one for me.
That's huge.
I'd kind of jump off that. I think that because I was processing like, what is it really? And I'm so restless that it really can be so much of that. And then I struggle with my own like inclinations to want to like, okay, what's the next thing in like the healthiest sense? But then when you are in seasons of rest, like appreciating there's rest. Like you don't always need to be filling your calendar. Like there are going to be seasons of that and like being healthy in that and self-loving in those things, but also self-loving when you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of free and I don't necessarily have a bunch of social stuff or work commitments or whatever it is, and like being good with that, especially in a world where it's like everybody is like, oh, I'm busy. It's like, what do you want, a prize? Like we're all busy. Just like really appreciating when things are quieter and not trying to fight that. I think that I would definitely that's been the biggest learning curve over the last few years for myself.
Yes. I can definitely relate. I think we're all kind of like, we like to be busy. We're, you know, ambitious women. We work hard, and so we're so used to, you know, making sure we're getting things done. But yeah, sometimes it's just enjoying the peace and the rest, and as that prepares you and regenerates you for the next season.
And that is self-love. Like you need to have those seasons of rest, so that when you do have those busier seasons, you're like, I'm ready for this. I have been taking care of myself. I took this time and I used it intentionally, like you were saying, Toni. when you have a quieter season, it should be easier to eat better and to take care of your body and take care of your mental health. And then when you're busy, you're like, I've filled my tank so that in this season where I don't have as much flexibility or freedom, you're already filled because you took the time to love yourself.
Yeah.
I like that. And even just to build on that too, like you said, in those appreciating the quieter seasons, that's when you can kind of develop the habits that when you get the busier seasons, it's not that you don't really have to take time and think, oh man, I need to go for a run. Your body wants it. Your body craves it. Or whatever it is that you do to recharge yourself. It's just something that you know you need, not something that you have to, struggle to do, I guess.
Yeah. Like the more that we talk about it, the more I'm just reminded, like, it is so important to just take care of yourself. Like, it's our responsibility. It's not up to, our friends, our family, our partner. It's up to us. And when we can take care of ourselves and make sure that we're healthy, we're so much more of an asset to other people. We can be a blessing to other people. We can help other people. And I feel like the world would just be a better place if we just make sure we just take the time to take care of ourselves. Yeah.
I think that's what people forget is like the autonomy that you actually have, that it is no one else's space to really to know you the way that you can know you. And it's such an important relationship that like there's only one guaranteed friendship in your life, and it's the one with you. So I think when we frame it like that, it really usually arrests people to think that, maybe you haven't even taken any time to ask yourself, what do you need? Like, what is going to make you feel healthy or alive? But that's a guaranteed relationship for your life, so invest in it. Like, just as you would invest in your best friend or your spouse or whatever, you need to invest in your relationship with you. Like, get to know her, get to love her. Do you trust her? Do you like her? Do you want to be around her? Like, ask yourself those questions and then do what you need to do so that you can say yes to all of those things.
What you said reminded me of something that I was listening to probably a couple weeks ago by Gabrielle Union. Now, it's not a direct quote. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was mentioning that after her first marriage, she went through a divorce, and she was speaking to, I think, her trainer / mentor, and the trainer asked her, like, what makes you happy? And she sat there and she didn't know. So she was in her marriage trying to make someone else, trying to have someone else make her happy when she herself didn't know what made her happy. So she took time and she came up with, I don't know if it was 10 things or whatnot that made her happy. And then she could intentionally choose to do those things instead of relying on someone else to make her happy.
So true.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've tried to do also. And it is a way to love yourself and know how to love yourself also.
Yeah. Definitely.
I actually have in my calendar, I have one color code that's like soul refreshment.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I do things every week that are soul refreshing. So whether that's like specific people in my life that I need, or if it's like I go early to a cafe and I read for a bit before work, or like going for a walk, or whatever it is. Like you have your extroverts that are going to be like needing to be around people, and that requires vulnerability. So like send that text message, even though it might be like, I wish somebody would invite me out. You gotta know yourself. You gotta invite yourself out, make it happen.
That's good.
Or if you're an introvert, like get alone, say no to something, stop committing to everything so you can like go fill up.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. For me, the way I see it is, it's like you have this garden, right? And it's up to you, like you really take care of the flowers in your garden. There's nobody else's responsibility. But also in that garden, there are seasons to everything, and the moment you plant the seed is not going to be the same season that you sow it. So when we're doing all these practices, we have to remember everything takes time. And it really takes time to grow. Like really invest in yourself. Yeah, that's what I think. For me, I'm definitely a work in progress.
We all are.
Yeah, and I just started basically practicing self-love. Growing up, I was always like a yes girl. Like, yeah, sure, whatever, yeah, sure. So when I actually sat down and thought to myself, what makes me happy? I was like, Gabrielle Union, I didn't really know. I was like, I don't know what makes me happy. And to this day, I'm still figuring it out. And I'm turning 30 in a couple of months, but I'm proud of it. It's okay. Like, everything takes time. I don't have to be on somebody else's timeline.
Right.
It's all on me.
Yes. Okay, so my last question, because I know we all care about self-love, we all know how important it is, but I want to know, when was the last time you looked in the mirror and said, I love you? To yourself. When was the last time? Or have you done that?
For me, it was last night.
Love it.
I looked in the mirror, I was like, yeah, I love you.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily look in the mirror and say, but honestly, Jill cracks up because my roommate cracks up every day because I usually leave the house like, damn, I look good. I like, walk out, but that's also, you know, I think it's, I don't necessarily say it to the mirror, but during the day, just thinking like, you did good, you rock, or whatever it is, like, keep going.
Yeah, you go
crushed it.
Yes.
That's good. I would say that it's something that I could work more on. So not to say, I would say definitely over the years I've learned to love myself more, but I think it's important to recognize it and to voice it. So even when I'm looking good, not just to know it, but like you said, look myself in the mirror and say, you're looking good today. Not just know it, but
Walk
say it
down
out
the
loud,
street,
right?
like,
Yeah. Or
Hey, girlfriend.
yeah, exactly.
Every window.
Exactly, yeah.
That's good.
And you know what? For me, because words are my love language.
Yeah.
So I love to hear positive words over me, period, to me. I just love words of affirmation. So I don't know if I've actually fully said I love you, but I think I've said other words like you're beautiful and you're good enough and you've got this. And so I think I'm going to try and say I love you in the mirror because I do love me. And I didn't always love me, but I'm proud to say that I've come this far and that I can say that I love me.
Great.
Powerful.
Yeah. So that wraps up our show. Ladies, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your stories with us, and thank you guys for watching. And you know what? I'd love to know, what do you guys do to show yourselves that you love yourselves? What are things that you guys do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis? I would love for you to write it in the comment section, and I'll be sure to respond. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and God bless.